Alright, here we go with another toy review. This time I'm doing a GoBots toy, and I'm doing Crasher here. As you can see, there's Crasher in the car mode. This is a sports car, obviously, or race cars more specifically. I'm not sure if this was supposed to be modeled after a real life racing car of some kind. I think it is, or it was. Which car it is or what the car is called, I couldn't tell you. I'm sure there's some answer to that out there on the wonderful world of the internet. So, you know, if you really are interested in that, I'm sure you could look it up. But anyways, there it is there. And this guy here is pretty much like a Hot Wheel in this mode here. It does roll. It's got little wheels. Has rubber tires here. And about the tires here, since this guy is pretty old, 20-something years old at least, the rubber on here is kind of dried out and kind of cracking. So if you get one of these guys, you might find the rubber here kind of cracking or wanting to fall off. I think I've even seen some online where it's missing the rubber. It's just got the little chrome hubcaps in there. But anyways, this one is actually in pretty decent shape. The stickers are kind of peeling a little bit, but they're not too bad. And as you can see, let's kind of pan in here just a little bit. It does say Crasher here on the sides and the front, and it's got the number 1 here kind of throughout here on the front of the hood of the car, front end of the car on the side here, and on here it says 01, so again number 1. And it's got some little red accents, some little red painted vents here, and if you turn on the underside, it's just pretty plain, which is kind of common with any of the GoBots if you're familiar with those. But underneath here it does say Bandai, and then it says 1983 and MR20, and I believe the MR20 refers to the original name of the toy line in Japan, which was, if I'm correct, Machine Robo. So I guess this is the 20th toy in that line of the Machine Robo toys from Japan. But anyways, there's a little sports car mode, and let's talk about the robot mode. And to transform this guy, it's pretty simple, which again, that's what GoBots are, just very simple. But what you do is you just start here by pulling this part down like that. That's going to form the legs. And then just pull out the arms here on the sides. And I find if you rotate these back first and then bend this part down, that's going to get the arms out of the way there. The reason I'm doing that is because they kind of want to catch here on the side here of the chest pieces. And when you have them facing just straight down like this, they kind of want to hit and then or rub against it, and pulling them down, it kind of wants to put force on there. And since this guy's kind of old, I don't want to really force it and make it any more looser than it already is. See, the leg joints are kind of getting a little loose here on me. But let's stand them up there like that. And I can't remember if this guy came with a little gun, but I think it did, because it has some little holes in here for the looks like for the weapon to peg into. And actually on this guy here, whoever had this guy previously, this isn't my original one. Looks like they forced it in because there's some little stress marks here. This hole's actually wider than this one, so they might have tried to slam a different weapon in there from some other figure. But anyways, let's kind of zoom in here a little bit more and just look up close at this guy. Now, if you're familiar with the cartoon series, you'll notice that the face here looks very different than the character on the cartoon show. And the character on the show, I believe, was like a female robot or female character. So it had eyes and a mouth, and the mouth had like kind of like painted on lipstick coloring, it looked like. So this guy here is obviously very different, and that's probably due to the fact that, you know, what they did with this show, or the toys in general, basically, was they took an existing toy line from Japan, the Machine Robo line, imported it into America here, and basically made a cartoon series to act as basically 30-minute commercials to sell the toys to kids. You know, if you're familiar with Transformers, it's basically what they do with Transformers. But so that's why this here looks different, obviously. They did do a different version of this one that came in a white color scheme. I don't remember if it was called Crasher or not, but I believe it was. But that's it there in the robot mode, and I really like this guy. This was one of my favorite GoBots as a kid. It's got a cool color scheme, black and red with, you know, just the silver. Personally, I like GoBots. Some people tend to kind of rag on them a bit, but for what they were, I think they were perfectly fine. They weren't as good as Transformers, but they were just meant to be simple little transforming cars, basically a Hot Wheel that could turn into a robot. So these kind of paved the way too for, you know, Transformers and other things that came out later. So I think, you know, some of the hate or the smack talking that people do about GoBots is not really justified. I think they were perfectly fine, and if for no other reason that these were a lot cheaper than a lot of the Transformers at the time, and as a kid you could probably get 3 or 4 of these for the price of one Transformer. So, you know, if you're going to pester your mom to get you something at the store, you're more likely to get one of these. And they had some pretty cool figures too. Not all of them were great, but you know, they had a good assortment of pretty decent figures in my opinion, or toys. But anyways, I like this one a lot. And just kind of look here at the back, pretty simple. And again, this is all die cast in here, so it's, you know, pretty sturdy, but it is kind of old. So you know, if you find one of these guys online, like on eBay or someplace, just be wary that, you know, some of the joints can be loose, the tires, the rubber on the tires can be cracked, you know, stickers can be peeling, you know, the typical things that you find with any old 80s toy. But if you're into transforming robots, you're into GoBots or Transformers, I'd say this is one to pick up. It's one of the better GoBot figures, and in my opinion, it's just really cool. So anyways, that'll do it here for my look at the GoBots Crasher toy.